Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Broku, and welcome to the channel. And so this is a video regarding the future of Asta and Yuno, and kind of tying things that happened in Berserk, and using that to maybe predict what will happen within Black Clover to Asta and Yuno. Because if you don't know, basically, I believe that Tabata's favorite manga is Berserk. You can see a lot of Berserk inspirations within Black Clover. I mean, just Asta's sword, the Black Swordsman, and I believe that Guts' sword is called the Dragon Slayer sword, and it's a big giant black sword. Asta's the Demon Slayer sword, so very big similarities there already to start, and there is a bunch more. And so I'm just going to say that, I did not come up with this theory. I've seen so many people discuss this thing that, Asta is supposed to be Guts, Yuno's supposed to be Griffith, and I've never really even read Berserk anyways. I've seen the anime, and I did like it, but that's not even all of it. It doesn't cover all of the manga, so I don't know everything, but this post on the Black Clover Reddit by Pesto Pasta Pena 18 kind of just sums all of the different theories I've seen up into one big, great post, so I'm going to leave a link below in the description so you can go follow this link, upvote it, give Reddit gold or Reddit silver, however all that stuff works, because it's a great post. And so I'm just going to give credit, link below the description. It is from Pesto Pasta Pena 18. I'm going to read the post and then discuss and analyze things. So I'm going to start reading now. I've seen many people come to agree Yuno could fall into despair of this saga. However, I've seen people say Asta could become possessed this saga too, and I agree with both tremendously, but I'm trying to figure out which one will happen. One thing I've been curious to find out is which route Tabata will take for Asta and Yuno. The Guts and Griffith route, or Licht and Lumiere route. Sounds random I included those, but no, it's not. Asta and Yuno are meant to mirror Licht and Lumiere. I've done a deep dive here on Twitter. On the flip side, what with Tabata citing his deep love for Berserk and even saying he wants Black Clover become the Berserk of Shonen. Well, with the many parallels already, Asta is most certainly based off of Guts and Griffith. He's got a little Serpico in there too, though. When this skip started, I noticed small changes in Asta's behavior. I believe he's referring to the time skip. I'd seen several comments noting how he seems more aggressive and brutal, which is agreed with, and that was based on 229 alone. Then the nail was put in the coffin in 230, when he became incredibly enraged and appeared to attempt to murder everyone in the fort due to his rash decision to destroy it when he could have KO'd the man at hand with his fist alone. Then you see the demon hovering over the fortress, the biggest version we've seen, yet he's smiling as always. Some people have thought that Asta had summoned the demon back then, but no, it was foreshadowing, and an unfortunate one at that. That sealed it for me that Asta would become the Licht to Yuno's Lumiere, and that's that. But as in typical Tabata fashion, my view was shifted once more from the apparent. I had suspected it somewhat, but most recent events confirmed it for me. Yuno will most certainly despair this arc. Notice how everything is being violently snatched away from him like never before and all at once. He finds out he's not special and talented, peasant, from the poor village, just making his accomplishments so much more impressive. Because, if you're a peasant accomplishing all this, it's way more impressive than if you're a royal. But no, he finds out he's just another royal whose heritage completely explains his powers. That with learning his family is dead, he can only meet them with Ralph's memory magic, and his friends are dead, while he very recently became vice captain in just 6 months, and is considered a hero after the Elf War. The last part is major. Yuno straight up made friends, as per the chapter of 235 through 236. Yuno refers to these people as his comrades, and flashbacks to him being close with them. Now before I continue reading, I'm going to say this guy did predict that Yuno would go through despair, as Yuno is despairing in the most recent chapter, as half of his friends, half of his squad mates are dead. Half the Golden Dawn got massacred, and Yuno is going through despair in that chapter when he's screaming towards the sun. So this guy did make a good prediction that Yuno would go through despair, as it is literally happening. What struck me is how different that relationship with Yuno and these people versus Klaus and Mimosa is. Yes, Klaus was a dick at first, but he quickly warmed up and became a dad-like with his overprotective and highly praiseful but serious nature. Mimosa was never mean to Yuno, but was indifferent towards him, even more with their newfound love for Asta. Still, despite 6 months together and development in Klaus's character initially, the relationship never seemed to blossom beyond friendly coworker stage, but Yuno seemed okay with that. I think it seemed all that matters was Asta. I think that's the difference here. Yuno isn't closer to these people because Klaus and Mimosa suck, or he's just being friendly for the hell of it. No, Asta is quite literally gone out of Yuno's life for the first time. and I think Yuno was so not used to it, especially since Asta is in actual exile, that he let himself make friends. He doesn't know when or if Asta will ever come back. He has faith that he will, but he can't hold out hoping forever, knowing how shitty the government in Clover is to peasants. Even as Magic Nights earlier, Asta and Yuno ran into each other more than they should have. The most they'd missed out on seeing each other was probably 3 weeks, I'm betting. Now, Yuno hasn't seen or heard from Asta in 6 months and doesn't know how long that'll continue, which must be torturous considering how deep they love each other and lived together, sleeping, eating, breathing together for 15 years. Yuno was seeing the threat of loneliness, so he let himself find comfort in other people for once, and it was amazing. In fact, it confirms what I've always noticed. Yuno is a better character away from Asta, or without Asta on his mind. Asta promotes character development in everyone, but prevents it in Yuno. And this is where I can see the Berserk influence instead of Licht and Lumiere. Now mind you, I haven't actually sat down and read Berserk, but I read the wiki articles, watched several videos on it, and mini analysis, so I have a good idea of what happens largely, not a lot of the smaller details. We know Asta has had everything go against him since the moment he was born, and life seems to get better but always harder for Asta. Yet he smiles through all the bullshit and hides his pain. His new design could be a testament to how hard his life is. Asta went from looking like your average goofy shonen protagonist, who you could probably beat up, to someone who can kill you with a stare. Seriously, he looks like he just did 15 years. Fit with his new criminal status, I guess. Anywho, Yuno is quite the opposite of this. He's had everything going for him and things that even better for Yuno, but only now have become randomly and extremely difficult, kinda like Griffith, would you agree? This video perfectly explains Guts, and from this alone you see parallels between Asta and Guts, with time skip Asta having more similarities in personality to Guts now than ever before. The part that made me think was when he said Guts is always teetering on the edge of insanity and trying to fight his inner demon, and how Guts is always saying fuck off to his dark fate. Sounds a lot like our thick boy in chief here, minus the insanity part, which could come into play here. What if Asta does start to lose himself at some points, developing anti-hero traits in some moments? He'll have moments of pure rage from demonic influence and built up mental anguish like in chapter 230 a lot more often, and will ultimately become possessed, but on a such smaller scale than Licht versus Lumiere, with him regaining control back quickly, or Noel and them saving him before Yuno could step in. What stood out to me was that Guts often borders on insanity, while Griffith seemed perfect, beautiful, and otherworldly, was the one to actually become that way. And I feel that'll help the dark truth for Yuno. While Asta becoming possessed and Yuno saving him will be a beautifully tragic plot point that's even foreshadowed in Ending 9, it'll only emphasize that Asta is imperfect and can't overcome his struggles, and Yuno is the shining example of willpower and perfection that we should all strive to be once again. Like Guts and Griffith, Asta will feel the pinch of his terrible life, and he'll try to consume him from pitfalls here and there and slowly erase his overly cheerful facade, which I would love for it to happen. But he'll never truly falter so long as he has his friends, while Yuno will lose his empire of perfection despite being made to seem untouchable. Asta will be possessed, but it'll be quickly resolved on a smaller scale, and it'll happen for the Magicula fight, I'm betting, but Yuno will fall into ultimate despair, and Asta will overcome his own pain to save Yuno. One thing I noticed per the time skip was Tabata emphasizing that being special and perfect isn't everything. Having Yuno be the only one to truly fall into despair will show that he's not the perfect, godlike man of everyone's dreams, but he's just a traumatized teenager trying to fix his broken ego. His reign of perfection will be over, while Asta overcoming his pain more openly will be shown to be stronger than Yuno in a way that was since their childhood till now, mental strength. One thing to also note is that the parallels between them after the time skip, both rush in to save people, activate their ultimate sword spell to kill their enemy. He'll likely use Spirit of Zephyr, it's a trump card, question the enemy on their heartless actions and disable the threat at hand, though appearing at first to have lost themselves to the rage and could happen to Yuno. However, with Asta, he appeared to lose control but didn't, and Yuno appeared to, but very subtly. His left eye turns red after activating Spirit of Zephyr. He makes the slightly unusual comment on curses, and then gruesomely kills the man. You could only partially assume Yuno lost control, but Asta and Yuno oppose each other in everything. What Asta does and is, Yuno doesn't and isn't. Their time skip designs alone is a testament to that. Now Asta appearing to lose himself, but leaving the scene clean with no casualties except the rapist likely from chapter 229, and Yuno not really appearing to lose control but actually would, or could, and next chapter it reveals he did snap to a small extent, would be another interesting foil between them and foreshadowing what their lives will become. This is an extension of it with an edit, Remember the scene of them from childhood to adulthood with black and white flashing in the background? I always wondered what this meant, but this further confirms my guts and Griffith theory. As children, Asta starts off with a black Clover, then white background, and the opposite. I think this means Asta as a child had darkness in his heart because he was deeply sad about his disability, but he radiates positive energy. Yuno had a pure heart but was surrounded by his own inner pain from his insecurities. Then it shifts to adult Asta and Yuno, with again contrasting backgrounds from their childhood selves, but still contrasting each other as they always do. Asta with black background and white Clover, so forth. This means that Asta has a pure heart now that he's gaining love and acknowledgement in the world, but his life gets harder on the outside, as we've seen it happen, and is surrounded by darkness. Then as we can tell, suppresses his former inner darkness within himself, and the white background symbolizes how good things go for him. Asta and both face darkness, but one will go towards the Lumiere, light. Damn, that was a really good post, guys. That was really, really good. And, there's so much talk about from so many different people, that he's going to go the way of Griffith, and he's going to go bad, or he's going to go dark. And I just thought this was the best overall post so far. So good job to Pesto Pasta Penny 18. Great post, and a really good theory. And I do see a lot of this happening, especially with what happened in the recent chapter, where it does show Yuno despairing. Yuno felt despair. He got vulnerable because all he cared about was Asta. Then Asta was gone for 6 months, so he opened up to other people, made friends. And guys, when you are a soldier and you make friends with your fellow soldiers, they are like brothers and sisters to you. So these are like brothers and sisters to him. And remember, Asta did say, let's treat our new friends like family. So Yuno very well sees all of the Golden Dawn as his family now, at least the ones he let into his life. And then half of them are wiped out, and Yuno thinks it's his fault because he wasn't strong enough. He could not stop Zeno. And it shows him screaming at the sun in despair. And this is a duality, a parallel to Asta. Asta went against the literal epitome of despair, and Veto, the third eye, the beast, and got his arms cursed so he couldn't use them again. Just think, living your whole life magicless, then you get anti-magic swords, and then you get your arms broken and cursed so you can never use them again, to never use the swords. Asta had basically his whole life had something hanging above him, then it drops down to him, and now it's hanging above him again. And Asta is looking at the moon in a similar way that Yuno's looking at the sun. And while Asta just faced despair, he gets pure hope that he's going to destroy fate. Yuno goes through despair, and he is despairing right through it. It doesn't show him going through and hoping and knowing that things are going to be okay. And all of it makes sense. This is, Asta went through despair, but Yuno's going through a different despair. Because, he thought he was this commoner, this peasant that broke through and became great through hard work, when in reality, him being a royal definitely would have helped him in that circumstance. And that is something that is now being taken away from him. And now he has a new family that he's never going to know because they're probably dead. And now he has an extra responsibility because he is a prince of the Spade Kingdom. He's the vice captain of the Clover Kingdom and a prince of the Spade Kingdom. A new responsibility. And then he finally opens up, gets a brand new family, and half of them die, and he saw it happen, and he wasn't strong enough to stop it. It is a great build-up to potentially, going dark. Now, if this happens, I don't want, just become a pure, straight-up villain, and I want it to be built up over a long period of time. Hundreds of chapters where Yuno is slowly crossing over, doing suspect things for good causes. He wants to do good, but will do anything to achieve it. And then maybe one day he'll go straight up evil, or he'll fully despair, get that 5-leaf black grimoire, and then Asta will have to take on Yuno in the ultimate battle. Now, I wouldn't want this to be their final battle. I would want their final battle to be literally them fighting to become the Wizard King. That might be too obvious, and, Tabata does love to subvert expectations, but that's what I wanted to happen. But, because, I don't know, everybody predicted that Asta or one's gonna go bad, they're gonna fight each other to end it. Kind of like Naruto and Sasuke. And, by then, the series is gonna be so different that most people are not gonna be comparing Black Clover to Naruto, as long as this is at least in a few hundred more chapters. But I'm sick of all the comparisons between Naruto and Black Clover. So while I would still like Yuno going evil, they're just going to call him a Sasuke clone. That'd be annoying. But anyways, this is a great post. And this makes me want to read Berserk to see if I can get maybe, you know, an insight into Tabata's mind like this guy has. Maybe read Berserk and I'll be able to predict things that are going to happen in the future as well. But this is a great post. I mean, for Yuno to go down that path would be crazy. But it's also built up. It's being foreshadowed right now. Yuno's despairing through his despair. Through Asta's despair, he saw hope, even though he had no idea if his arms are ever going to be able to be used again. Asta's the epitome of hope. Yuno looks like to be going the opposite direction. But anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment and subscribe. Remember to check out this post on the Reddit, because, you know, I'm not going to steal people's Reddit posts and make my own videos like, you know, other people do, and they say it's their own theory. If there's theories or predictions on the Reddit that I see, I will give credit to that person, because I think that's probably the fair thing to do. But anyways, guys, hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...